What is going on, guys? Fitcho here, and welcome back to the Fitcho Career. It's episode number 23, and it's the second last round of the season. We're here in Malaysia for the feature race, and it is raining. We're going to be on the intermediate tyres for qualifying, and for me personally, that is great news. Compared to the rest of the field, I am very, very quick in the wet. This is exactly what we want for this weekend, because like I've said before, we've got 2 rounds left. We've got Malaysia and Abu Dhabi, and Abu Dhabi is one of my worst tracks on the calendar, and I'm not going to be able to get a lot of points in Abu Dhabi. I'm definitely going to lose ground there to Antonio Giovinazzi, unless he has an absolute shocker weekend or something. So right now, this weekend is so important for us to get a big bang of points and pull away from Antonio Giovinazzi when we head into the final round. At the moment, the gap is only sitting at 1 point. So we must extend that gap here in Malaysia if we want to have a chance at winning this title. Here we go, qualifying in Malaysia for today's feature race in some very wet conditions, and as you can see, for Wako, it's already pulling away from us as we were down to last place on the run to turn number 1. That's because we are running some very high wing in this qualifying session. That should really help us through the corners, because that's what you need in wet conditions. Is now out of turn 2 and on to turn 3. We're back into the lead of this qualifying session. We're struggling to keep the rear end in check as we now end the first sector in the lead of this qualifying session down into turn number 4. Try not to run too wide. We ran a little bit wide, got on the curb a little bit, and that's going to lose us a fair bit of time as now into turn number 5. Now you want to flick the car back to the right, turn in really early in these conditions to get the nose in for turn 6, and we are still leading here in qualifying down to the double right-hander. We've gone very deep, actually run off the road slightly, and it's lost us a lot of time as Alexander Albon has taken the lead of this qualifying session as we get stuck out on that exit curb, which really lost us a lot more time. Is now through the hairpin back onto the power. Very careful through this tricky right hand as we're sideways. We get the car back in line as we jump on the brakes for the next right-hander, but did compromise us slightly. Is now down to this fast left, normally flat, but definitely not in these conditions, and up to the penultimate corner. Usually very difficult to get the car stopped for in dry conditions, and even harder in wet conditions. We get through there quite nicely back into the lead of this qualifying session. We've got a good lead over Alexander Albon as we head down towards the final corner. Hopefully our high wing doesn't lose it for us now as into the final corner. Get the car stopped and turned in and back onto the powers. We're a little bit sideways out of the final corner up towards the line. Go straight for the shortest line possible. We're going to take pole position here in Malaysia. So we have taken pole position here in Malaysia for today's feature race by 0.3 of a second over Alexander Albon, and that's with our off at the double right in that qualifying session. So without that margin could have been more like 7 or 0.8 of a second. So right now I am just praying for a wet race, doing a rain dance and everything, because those conditions really do suit me. But joining me on the front row of the grid for this feature race is Alexander Albon. On the second row of the grid is Charles Leclerc and our championship rival Antonio Giovinazzi. He's going to be starting out of 4th, not far behind me, so it's going to be interesting in this race. And if it is dry, I might be caught out a little bit because, of course, Parc Fermé rules, and I am running a bit higher wing than normal. That could hinder me in the race, but I'm sort of put all my eggs in one basket there, hoping for a wet race as well. On the third row of the grid is Norman Nato and Antonio Fuoco, with Oliver Rowland and Sergei Sorokin in 7th and 8th. Then Artem Markelov and Raffaele Marcello round out the top 10. So as you can see, it is quite dry here in Malaysia. In fact, the sun is out, but we all know what Malaysia is like. It's notorious for changing weather conditions. If we have a look at the session forecast, that is exactly what is predicted to happen in today's race. We're starting in sunny conditions, and it says we're going to finish in heavy rain, similar to the feature race we had in Singapore in the last round. So the strategy I've decided to go for is to go on start on the hard tyres, and then swap to another set of hard tyres, and then at the end swap onto the soft tyres. But my theory is, because of the rain, that'll actually become intermediate tyres. The original strategy the game gave me was have that soft stint at the start, and that would have meant I'd have to do an extra stop, assuming the rain does get heavy enough for those wet weather tires. So we'll see how we go. Hopefully this strategy will play into my hands with the way the timing works with the rain and my tire life. We'll see how it goes. We're starting from pole position, the best place to be starting for this race, but we are on the slowest compound tire. But without further ado, let's get into it. Here we go, engage the clutch, get the revs up as the lights come on. We've got 5 lights. And it's lights out, and away we go. The feature race here in Malaysia is underway. We've had a dreadful start from pole position as Charles Leclerc and Alexander Albon have already gone flying past, along with Antonio Giovinazzi as we head down towards turn number 1. We're just going to have to slot in behind Giovinazzi for now as we head through turns 1 and 2. Can we try and go right around the outside of Giovinazzi? Through turn 2 and onto turn 3, we're on the inside. But I think he has the run, but no, we're coming back at him as we head up towards turn 4, side by side. I've got the inside line and should be able to make this move stick for third place, and I do so successfully. Not the best start in the world there, as we bogged down a little bit off the line, but I think that's because of the hard tires. We didn't get the best grip off the line, but you have to remember, we are trying to play the long game in this race due to that weather forecast and our strategy of going hard, and then hopefully onto the intermediate tires. But to go from first to third isn't that bad. We've got Charles Leclerc and Alexander Albon ahead of us. And as you can see, they are already starting to break away from us a little bit. I think Leclerc is on soft tires and Albon on the mediums. Here comes Antonio Giovinazzi up our inside, down. Oh, he spun us! Our championship rival has spun us and we have a puncture. What the actual hell just happened there? I don't even know. That is absolutely ridiculous. And now we have to try and get back across the track and into the pit lane with all these cars going across us. And now we have to wait for Oliver Rowland. No, he stopped there. We've creeped onto the track a little bit too much. That is absolutely ridiculous. I don't even know what happened there. He just spun us down the pit straight. Our championship rival, that. Oh my god, that is ridiculous. Now we have a puncture and our strategy is gone completely out the window. We're going to pit for the hard tires and just pray that we can take those tires far enough, but I'm not confident. We're so far back now. The leaders are already into sector 2 going through turns 5 and turn 6. That is absolutely ridiculous. I do not believe that. No way did that just happen. We're going down the straight. We're minding our own business, taking the racing line down the straight. Giovinazzi's in our slipstream. He pulls to the inside. He thinks about it. And then just hits our rear and sends us for a spin. That is absolutely unbelievable. But right now, we have to keep our head up and fight on. It's not all over with those weather conditions changing. There could be a safety car soon in the race. You never know. We now have Oliver Rowland right behind us, and he did make a pit stop. And here he goes up our outside, down into turn number 1. Going to give him a bit of a squeeze on the exit and try to stop him going up our inside into turn 2. And we hold on to 21st place for now, as it's a battle between me and Oliver Rowland over last place. We are both in the top 4 in this championship. It's absolutely crazy the way this race has panned out, and right now we are absolutely praying for a safety car. It's going to be our only hope to get back into this race. Here comes Oliver Rowland to our inside as we head down the back straight, and he gives us a bit of a tap there like Antonio Giovinazzi, but thankfully he doesn't spin us like our championship rival did earlier in this race, and he makes that move stick. And just to rub salt into the wounds, he gets DRS as well down the second straight, the pit straight, and we are down to last place now in this feature race. So, looking at my tyre wear, I think I can get these tyres another 8 or so laps. So we need the rain to come sort of quite soon if we want to go straight onto the intermediate tyres from here. So we need to be heavy enough to swap onto inters around lap 18 or 19. Let's have a look at the weather report. Light rain within 5 minutes. So that means probably in the next 3 or 4 laps. And then for it to get heavy enough, that takes another few laps. So you might just be on to get these tyres to the intermediate conditions. But we're going to have to be very careful on these tyres and try not to take too much life out of them, because we don't want them exploding on us right near the end of this stint. Oh, Giovinazzi is out of this feature race. Karma has come and bitten him on the arse. I'm not too sure what has happened. Yes, safety car. Yes, yes, yes. Oh my god, I've never been so happy to see the safety car come out. I've got an alternate strategy from Jeff, and we are going to come into the pit to take this opportunity to change tyres as the rain is about to come any minute now. But I'm in pretty much last place. I can afford to take this pit stop and get fresh tyres right now. Oh my god, I am so happy right now. That has made me so unbelievably happy. We are not out of this race yet. We are most definitely still in this. We were very quick in qualifying when the rain was falling, and the rain is about to start falling yet again. We are going to be at the back of the pack, but that's not going to stop me. So into the pits we come, and you can see what my tyres were on after stopping at the end of the first lap. Up to lap 14, they were just about at 50%. They usually don't blow up until over 75%. So I still could have gone a few more laps. We're going to take this chance to swap onto soft tyres. The rain's about to come down, so I should be able to go for a little bit of a blast through the field before the rain comes, and we're actually going to have a very slow stop as our teammate has just come in. But that's not going to make any difference. We've dropped to last place anyway, and we're now just got to catch up to the back of the field and hope the rain comes down, not straight away, but quite soon. Long enough for us to make the most of these soft tyres and not have to make an extra pit stop before we swap to inters. So the safety car is not coming in this lap, and as you can see, the rain is really starting to come down here, so I'm going to take a massive risk and come into the pit lane for the intermediate tyres. You can see, just trying to push it into the lane. I am starting to struggle. I'm going to be very, very careful there. And there goes Jeff with the alternate strategy right as we come into the pit lane. This could have been the perfect call. We're going to have a chance to catch back up to the pack, and they're all going to swap to the intermediate tyres. This could have been one of the best calls as Jeff has just come on with the alternate strategy. And here we go. Put the intermediate tyres on. We're going to have to gun it for this lap to try and catch back up to the pack. But I think everyone else is going to be coming into the pit lane at the end of this lap for the intermediate tyres, and as you can see, it is wet enough now for the intermediate tyres. Just look at the conditions. This could have been one of the best calls I have ever made in racing on this game. We're going to find out very soon, so I just need to try and keep this car on the road and catch back up to the pack, and it is definitely wet enough for these intermediate tyres now. Here we go, safety car is in this lap, and as you can see, it is definitely conditions for intermediate tyres. We have made an amazing call. I wouldn't be surprised to see every single car in front of us, all 20 of them, peel off into the pit lane at this restart, as every single one of them, I believe, is on the dry tyres as we're about to go back to green flag racing, as we're right on the back of Oliver Rowland. He's got a teammate Sean Galisle just in front of him, and here we go. You can see everyone's peeling off into the pit lane. Look at the mini-map. We're going to go up the inside of Oliver Rowland through the final corner, and everyone's peeling off into the pit lane except cars who have teammates in the pits, as now we dispatch of one of the Primas, that was Vuoco, and now we're on the back of Luca Giotto. We're already up into 8th place, and everyone in front of me is on the dry tyres as we head down into the first corner, up the inside of Giotto and Alexander Albin, and now we're going to go up the inside of Raffaele Marcello down into turn number 2 onto the power, past Igor Rudzev, and then Raffaele Marcello. Gustav Malia is up next, going right around the outside of the racing engineering car, and we're up into 2nd place. We've only got Felix Sorrells in between us and the lead of this feature race, and we're going right up to the back of the car, and we're going to breeze past him into the lead of this feature race. There's an amazing strategy call as we've gone from last to first, just like that. Unbelievable stuff. So everyone has now swapped onto the intermediate tyres, and we are leading this feature race by 17 seconds to Nicholas Latifi and Louis Delatraz, who are in 2nd and 3rd place. That is a huge margin. That gamble to pit was one of the best calls I have made, and we are now a long way in the lead after being spun at turn on the first lap and down to last. 40 seconds off the lead. We are now leading this feature race, and now we just have to make sure we keep it on the track. We've got a very comfortable lead, and we just need to cruise around for the next 9 laps. Here we go, heading down to the final corner for the last time in today's feature race. Through the final corner, get onto the power, get the back out a little bit as we head up towards the line, and we are going to win the feature race here in Malaysia. What a freaking race. That was absolutely crazy. an absolute roller coaster of emotions, from getting taken out on lap 1 by our championship rival Antonio Giovinazzi to then gambling to pit under the safety car for the intermediate tyres. That was an absolutely amazing race. There might not have been that much on-track action, but that was absolutely ridiculous. I went from pole position to being taken out and 40 seconds off the lead to then winning by 40 seconds. That was absolutely crazy, that race. I really don't know what to say after that race. That was absolutely madness. But we have won the feature race here in Malaysia with Nicholas Latifi 37 seconds behind us in the end, as they did make another stop on the intermediate for new intermediate tyres for some reason. I think everyone but me did that. I don't know why. The tyre wear on the Inters really wasn't that bad. I was only like 50% at the end of the race, but that's what they did, and that just makes the margin of victory so much more. It allowed me to cruise so much on those final few laps just to make sure I didn't make any stupid mistakes, make sure there was no repeat of Singapore, and thankfully there wasn't. But joining me on the podium was Nicholas Latifi and Sergei Sorokin. Just off the podium, you got Louis Delatraz and Norman Nato with Sergio Sedecamara in 6th. Charles Leclerc finished 7th with Nick de Vries in 8th, Jordan King in 9th, and Nobuharu Matsushita just scraping into the points in Carlin, with Emil Bernsdorf just missing out on points. So that is another important point for Carlin. I think that's the nail in the coffin there for Arden, as there's now 10 points between those two, and considering they've only scored 24 and 14 points respectively, I think that's game over for Arden. They are going to come last in this championship with only 3 races left to run. So if we look a little bit lower, behind Emil Bernsdorf was Oliver Rowland in 12th, Rafael Marcello just behind him in 13th. Felix Morales came home in 14th with Artem Markelov in 15th. Gustav Mallier finished 16th, with Alexander Albon finishing in 17th, and he of course started on the front row of the grid alongside us, so something went very, very wrong there for the Thai driver in today's feature race, and he had Antonio Fuoco just behind him in 18th place, with Igor Rudzev in 19th, Luke Kyoto 20th, and our teammate Sean Galisle, the last of the finishers, in 21st place. And of course, Antonio Giovinazzi did not finish the race after taking us out on the first lap. Karma came and bit him on the ass big time. So after that crazy feature race here in Malaysia, I've extended my lead in the championship to 28 points over Antonio Giovinazzi, with only 3 races left in the championship. So right now, I am definitely sitting in the box seat with 222 points. Of course, Giovinazzi 28 points back in second on 194, and then 9 points back from Giovinazzi is Louis Delatraz on 185. And then you go back to Oliver Rowland on 145 points in 4th, and he is now mathematically out of contention for this title, I am pretty sure. So only me, Giovinazzi, and Delatraz can possibly win the championship. In 5th place is Rafael Marcello on 129 points, only 1 point ahead of Norman Nato in the Russian time. And then only 9 points back off Nato is Luca Kyoto, sitting in 7th place, with the Prima of Charles Leclerc a further 9 points behind off him. Then in 9th and 10th, you have the 2 ART Grand Prix drivers, separated by only 4 points, with Alexander Albon currently having the upper hand over his Russian teammate Sergei Sorokin with 98 points and 94 points respectively. And just outside the top 10, you got Jordan King only 3 points behind the 2 ART drivers. In the team's championship, Racing Engineering continue to lead with 268 points, 28 points more than their nearest rival, which is MP Motorsport. In 3rd place is Dams on 226, so 14 points back of MP Motorsport, and then only 4 points back off Dams is Trident, sitting in 4th place, and a further 2 points back off them is Campos Racing in 5th. So the battle between Dams, Trident, and Campos is getting very, very close, only 6 points separating those 3 teams. In 6th place is ART Grand Prix on 192 points, only 4 points more than Prima Racing, so those two are very close in the championship, battling over 6th place, with Russian time actually not that far off them, only 7 points back off Prima, so there's a bit of a battle there going on for 6th place in the team's championship. And then you got Rapax a further 16 points behind them, sort of sitting in no man's land there in 9th place, because behind them it is a very long way back to Carlin and Arden. It looks like Carlin have now got the upper hand over Arden, as they are sitting on 24 points compared to Arden's 14. I don't think Arden have a chance of coming back at Carlin there. So that is all for today, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure to smash that like button. If you are new to the channel, make sure you do subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Fitcho, and I'll see you all next time.